Hello. I don't know what it was. It just took a lot of effort for me to get started. It's probably because mostly I feel like I don't have anything to talk about. I'm being way too quiet, but because I pushed it back so long, both of my roommates are home. I'll skip forward. Hope this sounds better. Let's see. Recap from last week. Haven't heard anything back about the audition still. Kind of a bummer. C'est la vie. Did see the other pastor that I emailed when I went to church Sunday, and he apologized for having a busy week. Told him it was no big deal. He said that he would be in contact with me at some point, so we'll see what happens with that. In other news, Friday night I went out with a coworker who's quickly becoming a friend. Her name is Janisa, and she's recently moved here from Texas. A lot of her family lives here, and she kind of moved here to be with them. But we did something that we are calling Fancy Friday. Basically, we got all dolled up and it was just the two of us, and we went to some schwanky restaurant in Germantown that was delicious. It had like homemade sourdough bread and sea salt. What was it? It was like sea salt, spinach, and olive oil butter that you put on the bread. It was really good. And then we got 3 of these dishes that were kind of small, but were amazing. Like one of them was this winter squash. No, what was it? I don't even remember what the exact words. Let me see if I can find the menu. Yes, we had the sourdough with seaweed butter, which was delicious. We also had the lamb sausage, yellow-eyed peas, chili, mustard greens dish, and the winter squash agnolotti with han schmig and creme fraiche and pecan, as well as sourdough frito misto, hot honey, and lemon. And for dessert, we had tonka bean, citrus, and candied egg yolk, and it was amazing. Very tasty stuff, very cool. Definitely a fun experience. I felt kind of guilty though, because by the end of the night, Janisa was like, I got all pretty and fancy and I want to go out. And I just went, bro, I am wiped. I had to be at the store at 5:30 this morning. It is now 9:45 at night. I'm sorry, like, stick a fork in me. I'm done. But then we ended up talking until 1 a.m. anyway. Well, I say we were talking. It was really just me talking a lot to her and her listening, which was awesome. I don't know, I think she did talk a little bit. She's a great listener, great company, very funny, 10 out of 10, would recommend. But we had fun doing that, and then Saturday, we were sunshiny and 60 degrees, and it was gorgeous here. So I put on a cute shirt and went to the park and just kind of soaked up sunlight, which was great. A couple things that are new here in Nashville that definitely didn't have at home. Sidewalks are everywhere, which is really cool because everybody like walks or they ride bikes, which is new and intriguing. And then this park thing. Back home, the only reason I really went to parks was to play Pokemon Go, which, to be fair, is pretty much the only reason why I went to the park here. I mean, Centennial Park is just cool in that it's super big and you can people watch, and there's dogs. There are dogs everywhere, and most people are cool with you saying hi to their dogs. But then I got to watch some guys play Zorb soccer, which is where like you're in these balls and you kind of like run at each other and you just bounce off and kind of fly back. And there's some like games of frisbee going on. There was some die-hard kite flyers there, which was really cool to see. And I think that like as the weather gets warmer, there'll be more and more stuff there. But the thing that really intrigued me is they had this couple was dancing a pavilion, and I think they were doing salsa or something. And then like 2 girls walked up, and then they kind of started showing them how to do the dance moves. It intrigued me enough that I think I'm gonna look into seeing if there's any sort of free dance thing, because that could be fun. Most of the time I just kind of sat there reading a book and feeling kind of dumb because the whole time I'm sitting there I have in my head, Saturday in the park, I think it was the 4th of July, yeah. But there was like not a whole lot of music playing, and if I just randomly burst into song, I feel like I would get a lot of weird looks. So I had an epiphany this week. This is not working out here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure that's my anthem at this point, but no. Okay. My hairstylist remains in Indiana. I'm actually lucky enough to have 2, both of which are younger than me and way more experienced at hair. So if that has anything to tell you about things that I think are important in life, hair is relatively low on the list. Anyway, I had a rather large epiphany this past week. I've been having a lot more early mornings at work just because we've been getting crazy amounts of catering. For example, I was informed earlier this evening that I need to go into the store at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning to start brewing coffee for a catering order that we have that has 350 biscuits and 16 big old trunk things of coffee. Not super excited about that because the worst part is Starbucks isn't open that early. Let me tell you why this Starbucks thing is so important. So this epiphany that I had, right? Last week, I'm going to work, getting there crazy early, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday. I get to work and I'm struggling. It is a chore for me to talk to people, for me to greet people. I'm just trying to get this catering stuff ready to go out for the day. I keep losing focus. It's hard for me to keep track of stuff. And I'm like, what the heck? But I just muscle through it because that's what you gotta do. So finish that day. Towards the end of it, need to be in there super early the next day to take a delivery that has to be at a hospital at 6:30 in the morning. So I tell myself that, okay, getting up early, getting more hours, you can treat yourself by going to Starbucks. So I went to Starbucks and got my go-to, which is an upside down iced caramel macchiato with extra caramel drizzle, if anybody's taking notes, with also a dirty chai latte on the side to drink during lunch, that way I don't crash. Basically just espresso and sugar and milk and cream. The day went like butter. It was so smooth. Everything was just snapping into place. I was cracking jokes, saying hi to people in the morning. How you doing? Hey, doing that kind of stuff. And everything was so much easier. And I was like, wow. And then it hit me. That joke about I'm not me without my coffee. It's not a joke. It's a real thing. And then it hit me, oh my God, I'm a grown-up. That was like the last grown-up thing to make sense to me. It's not having to file your taxes, because you have to do that when you're in college and scared of life in general. It's not graduating from college because you're still scared of life in general. It's not moving out because you're scared of life in general and are not adept at it yet. I told myself that I could grow old, but I didn't have to grow up. And part of that's because, for me, the most important qualities for a person to have would be sense of humor, that they're compassionate, and that they have a sense of imagination. Maybe it makes me seem like childish, not wanting to grow up and face the music, as it were, but I think that getting stuck in the rut of the mundane is so much easier than actively pursuing to use your imagination with kids. Play with Legos, with cousins, nieces, kids in general, and just see all of the pure, raw potential that they have, and hope it rubs off. I mean, sometimes you have to grow up, but with so much negative, sucky stuff in the world, if you can create a little spark of something happy, do it. If you don't want to do it just for you, because you think it's selfish to waste all that time and effort on you when there's other people that you need to be taking care of, do it for them, because you never know what will inspire them. A sense of imagination. That's a big one to me. As much as I would like to say it had something really profound, like that's what harbored my love for books and reading, and that's why I think that creativity is such of a powerful instrument. I mean, ultimately, it's because Hook is my favorite movie. And Robin Williams is my favorite actor. And that movie, to me, was so just, there's a scene in it that's like my favorite movie scene of all time. And it's the food fight scene, which if you've never seen Hook, okay, 1, why? 2, tell me so I can come over to your house and we can watch it together, and I'll bring popcorn and you can order the pizza and we'll curl up in some blankets. It'll be great, okay? The favorite scene. So this guy that Robin Williams plays, all he knows is that his kids have gone missing and he's trying to get them back, and nope, that's all backwards. It's all backwards. There's no way. I've just tried. I cannot explain it in a way that does the movie justice, and summarize the plot up to this point. But this scene is where they're all sitting around a table, and these kids have been trying to get Robin Williams' character, Peter, to remember how to be a kid, and nothing's working. He's sore, he's tired, he's hungry, and they sit down, and there's this huge table just laid out with steaming dishes, and he smelled it going down. He's just so excited, sink his teeth into some real food, And then they get down there, and there's this really cute bit where they go to pray. He says, "Let's say grace," and then Peter's all like, "Bless this, thy Lord, for thou," and all the kids go, "Grace!" And then they start tearing dishes off stuff, and there's all this steam coming up, everybody's scrambling, and Peter's like, "Oh, food!" So he's going to get food, and that's when he notices that everything is empty. There's no food on the table. and he's watching all the kids around the table, and they're just like smacking their lips and like eating into a huge sandwich and just going to town smashing food. And he gets upset. He's mad. So then he starts lipping at the kid in charge, the one that's been telling him everything that he needs to do, and the kid who honestly doesn't believe in him. And he starts lipping back, and they're doing like this insult battle, which is like the greatest insult battle known to mankind. If you watch the scene, just watch it for that. And then Peter says some line back. He's like, if I'm a moldy burger, why don't you just eat me? And then like flicks his spoon at the guy, and then ice cream smacks the kid in the face. Peter looks around, and the table is totally filled with food. And all the kids all around the table just have the biggest grins on their faces. And he like looks at this other kid in front of him with like wonder on his face and like, what just happened? And all the kids just start going, you're doing it, Peter. You're doing it. You're doing it, Peter. And then and it just like that moment, I want to be able to do that forever. I wish there was a way for me to convey how much that moment means to me and meant to me growing up and still means to me now, to Robin Williams. Because man, for somebody who values imagination, that guy always made me feel like magic was real. But going back to this growing up thing, like I'm okay being a grown up, and I've kind of had this realization, but it keeps going. Ultimately, someday I do want to be a mom. Like, and I want to do that. I want to try seeing how badly I can see how good of a job I can do raising kids. And I've always thought about adoption anyway, but I don't have to wait till I'm married to be a mom, especially if I'm gonna adopt. Hello? I've been struggling a lot with like building up an emergency fund and savings fund for myself. So maybe if I tell myself this isn't for me, this is for someone else in the future, hopefully that'll help kickstart me into actually applying that. I'm saying like not this year, not in the next 5 years, but probably in the next 10. Like a life goal, have enough money to adopt a child at 35. Seems solid, right? I'm sorry guys, I don't know what my deal is. My peppiness juices just are not flowing. Maybe I need coffee. Can't drink coffee tonight though. I gotta be at work at 4:30 in the morning. Well, thank you, yet again, for tuning in to hear me ramble. Although this time it wasn't quite so long. That's alright. Hello to my new subscribers that I have. Also, one of them, I think I don't really know who you are in real life, which is kind of new. Hello, nice to make your acquaintance. Other than that, hope you guys have a fantastic week.